Did you ever have a dream where you were surrounded by a harem of beautiful girls who murdered you and each other in a never-ending cycle of death and violence? No? Well, if you have ever wanted to know what that experience is like, you will get a brand new, freshly rebooted chance to find out. Hey anime friends, welcome back to the Anime Tea, hosted by your friend Phoenix, who also happens to be a socially awkward anime and tea lover, who is drinking water right now, and not tea, but it's because I finished my tea, but whatever, and who is also afraid of the dark, but is going to be talking about a very horrific anime series. Do you see the irony yet? That is me. That is Phoenix. Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Higurashi no Nakukori ni, or Higurashi When They Cry, which is a series that is going to be getting a reboot that's going to premiere on October 1st, 2020. If you were anything like me, growing up in the 2000s, searching the internet for more anime series because you already finished the shows that you were watching on TV and you needed more anime content, and you stumbled upon Higurashi no Nakukori ni on a site that probably gave you a virus, and then you had to tell your parents about it and you got in trouble, then you may know what I'm talking about. And if not, I will explain what the series is to you. Higurashi no Nakukori ni, or Higurashi When They Cry, which is what it is known here in the States. The basic premise of the series follows the story of Keiichi Maebara, a high school kid who has just moved to Hinamizawa, a small Japanese country town essentially in the middle of nowhere. He's mostly living a normal life and making friends with a plethora of cute girls because, you know, this is a shonen type, harem type anime, so you already know that there's just a bunch of cute girls around this basic ass guy. Anyway, in town, until he finds out that every year on the night of the town festival, somebody gets murdered as part of a curse that has been ongoing for years in the town. Now, I'm not going to give too much away about the series for those of you who have not seen it, but let's just say multiple people definitely get murked in this series, and it's very gruesome. I would not recommend the series to someone of the faint of heart because the amount of bloodshed and violence is ridiculous, but it's also great for people who like gore like I do. I don't like scary stuff, but I like gore. I don't know. I don't understand. Higurashi, which is what I'm going to be calling it, it was originally a visual novel. If you're not familiar with visual novels, they're basically games that you play that are basically more like stories rather than actual gameplay, but you get to make choices, and in the choices you get very different endings depending on the choices that you make. Higurashi was created by Seventh Expansion, which is like a doujinshi, like visual novel creation company basically in Japan. That was created in 2002. It was adapted into anime in 2006 by Studio Dean. The first season ran for 26 episodes. It also had a second adaptation, which some people call the second season, which was called When They Cry Kai, which aired in the summer of 2007. I don't know if it's technically a sequel because it showed a slightly different approach to the main series. It kind of veered off a little bit from the main story. So, I don't know, it's debatable. Earlier this year, it was announced that Higurashi would be getting a reboot that was supposed to air in summer 2020, but you know, C-19 pushed back all of our favorite anime and, you know, put the entire world on lockdown, so it got pushed back to this fall, which I think fits perfectly, at least here in America, because, you know, fall is the spooky season, and this is a spooky horror anime. It's not spooky, but it's horror, gore, and all that, so I feel like it's perfect for this season coming up. Now that the premiere day is coming up soon, I wanted to ask the question that's been on my mind since I heard about the reboot. Why is the series getting a reboot? It doesn't make... Who asked for Higurashi to get a reboot? There are so many anime that I can think of off the top of my head that deserve a reboot, and Higurashi is not one of them. But you know what? I'm not going to get defensive about it. It's fine that it's happening. I'm sure fans of the series are pretty excited about it. I have mixed feelings about it, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed watching Higurashi, both the original and the second or sequel, which is Kai. And I mostly liked it because I was a really messed up child. Like, I shouldn't have been watching that as a child. There was so much gore and violence, it didn't make any sense. Children were literally killing each other. It gets crazy. And I still think it deserves to go down in history as one of the greatest horror anime of the 2000s, as well as for its iconic, horrifyingly creepy opening song, which I love to pieces. The Higurashi first opening is amazing. If you haven't heard it, go watch it. I'll probably post a clip of it on my Instagram if you want to hear it. Anyway, my only question is, why does it need a reboot? Like, why bring it back? All 8 main story arcs from the visual novel were adapted in the anime. And it was pretty complete. Like, I didn't need any more. Here's a few reasons that I looked into as to why it is getting rebooted. The first being that the original series didn't really do the story justice. A lot of people complained that the story was not well shown in the anime. Even though that's a good reason for a reboot, a lot of anime that is adapted from visual novels tends to not have a good adaptation anyway. So I don't have really any hope that the story is going to be any better or any better explained in this new anime, because to this day, visual novels that are adapted to anime still have really weird storylines, because it's just a weird, the medium is totally different. You get to choose how a story will end in a visual novel, whereas in anime, it has one linear path that can't be changed. As well as some of the scenes and story arcs were cut short or not shown because, you know, like I said, there's different paths you can go on in the visual novel, whereas in the anime there's only one, so they probably weren't able to show every single scene from an arc that was able to make sense in the anime. And as a kid, I mean, again, I watched the series as a kid, so I didn't play the games. I just watched it, and I didn't really have hopes for I didn't really try to understand the story all that much. I just liked seeing the crazy people kill each other. That's it. But I can understand how it can be frustrating for a fan if the story doesn't make sense. So hopefully we'll see if they're actually able to accomplish and make this a suitable storyline that makes sense and is not confusing and convoluted. The second reason is that the visual novel is still in production, like to this day, like it's still going on, which means that new chapters are out and they are probably going to adapt some of the new chapters into the story, which is something I would be excited for if this happened. Rather than the first one, just rebooting it because the story wasn't great, I would actually be interested in seeing more scenes that they put for this story. From the original one, like I said, they adapted the original 8 story arcs into the anime, but now that there's more, they're probably going to add a few more, and it's going to be new, never before animated scenes that we haven't seen before. And lastly is the gore scenes, the violence. Since it's a new era of anime and we get every single season, there's just beautiful animations all around because of technology and things like that. So now we get to see a bright, shiny, bloody reboot of all of our favorite scenes from 2006 to now, and seeing how they change it, which is another thing that makes me kind of interested, because again, the gore scenes of Higurashi were the most iconic and memorable parts of the show. Not the story was okay, like, you know, the characters were alright, but it was the scenes of complete violence and utter chaos that made the show beloved by horror fans alike. So those are the 3 main reasons I think that it's going to be rebooted, but one main concern that I and a lot of other people have about the reboot is that it may be censored. Since it is, you know, 2020, a lot of things are being more censored now, including violence and things like that. I mean, reasonably so. You don't want to see something that's just completely unnecessary, even in some anime, but that the fact that that's a main part of the show, like the completely unnecessary violence, is a main component of Higurashi and what makes people like it for some reason. It's kind of concerning that they might censor it, because that will take away from the entire reason of rebooting it. Basically, like, why reboot a series if you're just going to censor the scenes that we could see in the 2006 anime? It would be pretty counterintuitive. And like I said, they're really, really graphic, and they literally put other anime of the same genre to shame. Like, if you've ever seen Another, like, Another is child's play to what you're gonna see in Higurashi if they show up the scenes in this new rebooted version. Lastly, for those anxiously awaiting the return of the series, and if you have not played the games yet, I haven't, but you can download the games on Steam. Chapter's actually free from Manga Gamer, which is like, I guess, a Steam thing. I know nothing about games. I don't know. This group called Manga Gamer on Steam is made the first chapter free until they find a cure for C19. We never know when that's going to be, so go get it while you can. Or you can watch the original 2006 series on Verve. Let me know your thoughts on the Higurashi reboot. Are you excited for it? Are you not certain about it? Will this be your first time watching it? Have you played the games? Let me know all that in the comments below. Be wary of cute girls with berets and machetes, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!